Welcome back to Mima's Place, everyone. Now begins the Christmas in July series. I'm starting off with a Christmas card. Now this one is very simple. I wanted to keep it simple and easy. This one does use a lot of dies, with the exception of the lattice itself. That was created on my Scan and Cut, and that was actually months ago because I was trying to determine the sizing of a lattice that I was making for the series that I did on the mini composition books. So I had a couple of these left over and I thought, oh, I could use these for cards, so that's what I'm using. This particular one that I'm showing right now is just the plain lattice, while this one is like a little star shape, if you could see that in the picture there. Now the dies that I used I'll list below the video. This one I embossed right here, and then I cut it out and I backed it with the silver metallic cardstock. I used the same on the leaves here, and then this is also a poinsettia die, and so is the center here. Now if you'll notice, it does have some glitter on it. It's not the glitter that comes off on your fingers, so don't worry about that. I did use some Stickles on it, this particular one right here, and then I also used, I think I used this too, this iridescent. But the actual glitter itself has that iridescent type of look. It came from this particular one. I'm going to hold it up to the camera in case you wanted to get it. I bought this at Walmart some time back. I don't know if they still have it, but this one's called Sunny Surprise, and it says glitter on it. But it doesn't come up on your fingers, so I don't want you to think it does. And then I just kept it plain inside, and then I backed it up with the metallic cardstock again, and then I put this design right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. So the next thing that we're going to begin with is the actual flowers that are on here. And that's these right here, these flowers right here. Now, in order to get it so that you have, like these I've already done, I'm going to bring it up to the camera so you can see it. So you see how you can see the veins within the leaves? What I do with these is I actually take a little bit of water. Now, some people use a spray bottle, but I prefer not to because I don't want the entire leaf wet. I just want just that middle part, and I'll press along here. I'll dip it into my water right here. I'll dip it into the water. There's hardly any water in there. And I'll just dip the tip of this in there. And I'll go along like this. And I'll make an imprint. Now the reason I do that is so that it shows up, as I previously showed you on the other one, when I start dabbing the ink on. And if you'll notice, if you look really closely here, let's see if I can get it in focus here. You'll see the veins on the other side. So that's what you want to do with this. And this pad, just use a very thin one. This actually came with my Big Shot. It's used for dies, but I use it for this too as well. And then the next thing that you want to do is begin with the actual, we'll bring in these two, with your ink. Whatever ink you want to use, this is a red one, and just use a small little dauber like this. And what you'll do is you'll just go ahead and daub right in the middle, very lightly. Just start lightly, because you can make them all kinds of colors, and you can make them a variation of what color you want to, how dark you want to make it, how light you want to do it. I'm going to make these middle ones, actually the middle part, very dark, more like a bright red. And then after you do that, then you'll go over here and you'll just lightly tint the ends. Now with the one that I previously showed you, I actually used a marker. I didn't use a dauber to tint the sides at all. But I think I like this better, because if you'll notice on this one, that's a marker that's going around it, around them. This one, I think this one looks a little bit more authentic than the other one. And so we'll just do the second one, and I only use 2 of them. You can use 3. They're both the same size. They're not any, now the die itself comes in various sizes. I think I showed it to you, didn't I? If I didn't, I'll show it to you right now. It's this one right here. Okay. So you see how it's coming out on both of them. You see that imprint? That's let me bring it up to the camera. You see the imprint right here and right there. Okay, so the next thing, well, actually, let's go ahead and finish this one. Got a little bit of string coming from the die. There's an outline on the die, so that's how come there's a little bit of string there. I didn't take the outline off. These are going to look so pretty, just gorgeous. I really like the way they look just as is. Okay, let me get that darker. All right, so we're going to close this up. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue them together. But before I do, I'm going to shape them just a little bit. And this one tool right here is one I was previously looking for. I went out and stopped the camera, went outside to go get it out of my craft room. And I'm just going to kind of curve these right here like this. You can do this beforehand, and the reason you want to do it beforehand anyway is you don't get that much ink on your fingers. I was wearing gloves on my hand, but I took them off because it's just, I didn't like it. It was just good. The glove kind of got in my way, and I didn't want it to get in my way. All right. And then you want to go ahead and glue this together. I use art glitter glue. There's also I think it's berry glue. I'm not sure if that's how you, that's the name of it. I have that one too, but for the most part, I use the art glitter glue. And 1, because it dries extremely fast, and it's a lot more convenient. And 2, it's easy for me to access here on my table. All right, so I have this foam. You see it's yay thick. And what I do is, it's already dried, so what I do is I take this, let me bring it up to the camera. There's a small size right here, and then there's the bigger size. And I just go around like this. So just use what you have, any kind of round little ball thing you'll do, and just press it in, and there you go with this. So that forms it. Now what you want to do next is we're going to go ahead and put on some glue, glitter glue on this. Let me close this up. And I'm going to use this iridescent glitter glue right here. I like it. I think it works really well. And I'm actually using a paintbrush. Now you can put it on without a paintbrush. It's not necessarily that you do it this way. The only reason I'm doing it this way is I just want to spread it more, and I can spread it easier if I do it. Let me shake this a little bit to get it down there. Okay. So you see how it comes out, and what I do is I go like this and I spread it around to the leaves. This way it doesn't get all over the place too. See how shiny it already looks? Isn't that pretty? It's already starting to look so shiny. Now on some of these, what I've done is I've also used another, what is it, the clear glaze on some of these to make it shine more. Just with the clear glaze. The clear glaze actually stiffens it up. There's various clear glazes out there. There's such a variety of them. There's a lot to choose from, so whichever one you choose will probably be really nice. I'm gonna reach over right in front of the camera, but this is one. Well, actually, that's a cleaner. I thought I had it right here. I'm sorry, I don't. It's out in the craft room, but I'll show you later on as I'm filming. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to lay this aside and let it dry for just a little bit. Actually, you know what, we'll just go ahead and move on to the next step because I want to show you what I do really quickly here rather than keep you holding on this. And then we'll lay this to the side and let it dry. Now this one is the next one that I put. This makes this iridescent colors right here that you see on this one. That's what makes it. That way is this stuff right here. This came from Walmart, and this is the Party Blend Glitter, and it's Snowy Surprise. So what you're going to do is you're just going to open, I have it in this jar. I think, I'm not that jar, this case. This case is actually, I had hummus in here before. I cleaned it, I finished it. And then I poured that in there actually, and the hummus came. I just keep some of these jars, containers, because I feel like I'm going to be using them later on down the line. So what you want to do, I'm looking for a spoon, but I don't seem to have one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end of this and I'm just going to dip it in there. And you see how it sticks in there? You know, one thing that I noticed about this and what makes it so nice, I mean, you can just leave it plain without putting this on here if you want. I like the iridescent look. But it dries quickly, and what I started to say was that you don't have glitter all over your hands. Once it dries, because that was the big thing with a lot of people, that the reason they don't use glitter as much, because it does tend to get all over things, and I don't blame them. It does. That's true, it does. I think what I need to do is put a little bit more of this glue on here because I was too slow and it dried up on me. So I need to be ready. This is where you're going to have to move quickly because I'm going to just dip it in there, make it easier on me. But it's gorgeous when it's dry. Right now it could get all over easily on you because it's still wet. And let's see, let's get this going really quickly here. And what we're going to do is we're going to lay this to the side until it dries. That looks gorgeous the way it is. So we'll lay that to the side. We won't touch it until it dries, and then you'll see how much it doesn't affect you. Doesn't get on all over your hands. Like even right now, look at my hands. I have a tiny bit, but not very much. It just doesn't get all over you very much. Okay, well, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, the next thing we're going to bring in is the lattice itself that goes right on top. This one, the original one, is based more toward the bottom, but this one, not the lattice, but the flowers, with the exception of these up here. But we're going to do this design just slightly different. This is from the Tim Holtz die cuts, and that would be this one right here. It's this particular one. And these are from a different one. I'm not sure. I'll have to get that. I'll put it in again. I'll put it down at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those on. I'm just kind of seeing what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to bring my flower in just for a moment so I can see where I want to put it. Right there. And then we're going to bring in the center of the flowers, which is these two right here. I'm going to glue those together. If you've noticed, I'm going to bring this more up to the camera so you can see. There are two of them, and I just glued them on top of one another. So we're going to go ahead and glue these down. And let's go ahead and do this real quickly. You can, when you cut these out, you can cut them out on the sticky paper so that you don't have to be concerned about glue. But I didn't do that. I just thought, you know, it won't hurt me just to put the glue on them. Besides, not everybody has the sticky paper as well. I always take that into consideration because I always want my videos to be fairly simple and easy, and also not be expensive for people, because you can make something very pretty and elegant looking without having to buy a whole lot of things. And these dies you can use for so many different things. Now, you know something that I did wrong, I just noticed, but I'm gonna work through it anyway, is that the ribbon that we're going to use should go at the bottom. This should not go on the top of the ribbon. I mean, the ribbon should not go on top of this, but that's okay. It's still fine. It's gonna work out okay. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to put a piece of tape right here. And I just used plain Scotch tape. And I'll tape it right in the middle. And no one's going to see this, so we're fine. And you're going to wrap it around. Let's go ahead and take a little bit off. 3 times you're going to wrap it around. So you're just going to go like this. Basically go like this. And very loosely. You don't need to do it really tight. And I'm doing it very loosely because I don't want this to bend. And then you'll just cut it again right here. And we'll go ahead and put some tape on this. Is it hot where you all at? Boy, it sure is hot here. I think it's basically the whole USA is having a heat wave because it's hot in every place. Most people are talking about how hot it is. Of course, you know, it is a season for it to be hot as well. Some places are hot more than others. I'm kind of just spacing this out because I want it to be spaced out here. Now this is a little loose than more than what I wanted. And if that's the case, just tape it again. That's all you got to do. Just tape it a little bit tighter. Well, this is not coming out of there so well, so I'm going to have to use another piece of tape here. Some glue it down. I don't glue it down. Only because I want to be able to easily change it if I don't like it. And this makes it easier for me to do that. And it's a little too long, so I am going to cut it right there. Okay. And you see how that looks? That looks really pretty. Now again, this is supposed to be at the bottom, not on the top of this, but the flower is going to go right in the middle. So it's not, I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here just on this. And I'm going to squeeze them together so that they just all glue together and stay together. You see how pretty that's becoming? And that'll give you an idea. I'm going to keep it there for just a bit. And then we're going to move on. We're going to place this to the side while this dries a little. Actually, it's not drying quite the way I want it to, but that's okay. Again, it's not going to show, but I'm kind of picky on this. I want it to be just right. Well, I'm going to place that to the side, and we're going to glue these together. This is from that same die that I previously showed you. Not the Tim Holtz one. It's this one right here. And it's this die right there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to give it another look. And we're going to put that on top, and we're going to let that dry. And then what you want to do after it dries is you'll just be bending it up. Just a little, just the top layer you'll bend up. And you'll be gluing it in the middle of your flower very shortly. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. I hope you don't hear my air conditioner, but it just got really hot in the room and I had to turn it on. It was hot. Okay, so this is what this looks like now. What I ended up doing is, I'm going to take it up to the camera. I put a little bit of tape right here because for some reason the glue wasn't holding it together, which is fine. And you can, again, this, you can always hide this. Now, what we want to do now is we want to go ahead and place this on our card. And it is exactly the same size as this card. So what I'm going to do is just simply use the art glitter glue, and I am going to, I'm not going to put glue on every single bit of this, but I am going to put it on the outside and then a few lines in between or inside, because I want to be careful on this glue simply because of its smearing. When you have something as thin as this, it's kind of hard to avoid it. So what I'm doing is putting the glue right here where I know that it's not going to show on the other side. And I'm going to put a little bit here on the die, because that's going to be all glued down to the card itself. Whoops. Get you a little bit of glue there, a little bit of glue there. Okay. And to help me place it evenly on here, I've opened up the card. And I'm just going to look from above and place it on the card. So that gives us all a good idea. Okay, that looks good. All right, now let's go for the inside. The inside, again, the measurements to both of these will be up at the corner right there. And what you'll want to do is just go ahead and glue this. Now, what a lot of people do is they use a square die, and so they cut the inside out so they save that part. And you can go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do it right now. For time's sake, I'm just doing it this way because I want it to be easier for everyone. Of course, that's a money-saving tip right there if you do it that way. And then you want to basically place it on here as best you can. Remember, art glitter glue dries clear, so don't be alarmed if you see a little bit of glue seeping out on the sides. It's not going to show once it's dried, so don't let that worry you. Okay, well, it's a little lopsided. Well, not too much, but I want it to be more centered. I like it. That's why I'm standing up, so I can get it a little bit more centered. The bottom seems to have less. Let's put it this way. Let's see if I can get a better picture of it that way. Okay. And I have one of these rollers right here. It'll help glue it. You see how that glue's coming out? Don't worry about it. It's not going to be there. If it does bother you, just take a baby wipe, which I'll show you right now how to do that, for those that might be concerned about having it there. You just take a baby wipe and you wipe it down like that. Just do it very gently and the glue will come off. You have to keep at it just a little bit to make sure you get most of it off. Actually, you'll get all of it off. It's kind of, I have paper underneath, so it's making this kind of warp because it's wetting it. Alright, so we're going to move this right here, and we're going to put it right in here. We have a little bit more glue right there. I'll take it off with my nail. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this on here. Some people use score tape. You can easily use score tape. A lot of times that's what I do as well. Depending on the card stock that I'm using for the card. Most thick cardstocks you don't have to use that for, and a lot of people use thick cardstock when it comes to making cards. But if you're using a thin cardstock, you might want to use score tape. And the reason I suggest that is because of the thickness, rather the thinness of your paper. Like, don't go by the weight, go by the GSM. Because the GSM, like on all paper, there's a GSM weight. And the higher the GSM weight, the thicker that paper is. The lower the GSM weight, the thinner that paper is. So even if you can have like an 85 or pound weight, and then the GSM be like 60 or something like that, which is pretty light as well. Or let's put it this way: if you had a 100-pound weight for a card, or 110, and then you have it GSM is 175, that's pretty light for that high a weight. And so don't be fooled by that when you buy your paper, because that does happen. I've had that happen to me a couple of times. Okay, so that concludes this one. Well, it doesn't quite conclude it, but we're going to put some more things on here. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and put in our glue on our Merry Christmas. I'm going to put this up here so you can see what we're looking at to follow along. And let's see, I've got it over to the side here. So I embossed it. I don't know if you can see that see how I embossed it. Some of it didn't turn out quite right, so what I did is I went over with one of my metallic pens. I just got one because my daughter went to a what was like a sort of like an estate, I guess, sale, and she picked up some free metallic pens for me, and I thought, oh great, I could use these. So that's what that one is. And we'll go ahead and put that right there. How about that being? I think that'll look pretty just right there. So we'll go ahead. I'm not going to put any, unlike this one that has these on the side, I'm not going to do that on this one. And I'm just going to put that right there. Okay. And then we're going, now this is not, our flower isn't quite dry, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on here. Because I just want to show you what it looks like. And I put that piece right in the middle already. I glued it down on there. I glued those two pieces together, and then I glued that on there. That just looks gorgeous. Isn't that elegant looking? That just looks so pretty. I think I like this one better, with the tinted going around the leaves versus having the pin right there. And that concludes it. Now bear in mind, because it's gotten a little bit on my fingers because it's still wet. You know, you don't have to put the iridescent on here. I mean the Walmart iridescent. You can just use the other one, which is this plain one. Where did I put it? This one right here. Because it is beautiful the way that it dries, and it doesn't dry in easy. It dries very easy, and it also doesn't. You don't have a lot of glitter on your hands as a result of this one as well. So just to keep that in mind. But I want to show you the other cards that I made. And if in any of those cards you'd like for me to show you how I made them, I'll be more than happy to. Make sure that you comment at the bottom to let me know. Otherwise, just stay tuned for just a moment, and I will get the other ones for you to show you, okay? In just a minute. Okay, as promised, here are the ones that I've made. Now we did this one together, and we did it identical to this one. Well, not quite identical. This one I used certain dyes, and then the flower is more toward the bottom, whereas this one is more centered on the top, and then obviously the two wordings are opposite each other. One is on the top, one is on the bottom. So that pretty much concludes this one. Now they're both the same inside. I put that little dye in there. And then we have this one that I've made. This is like a mint green dye that I used on this one. And I'm I'm trying to think. I think this is a Stampin' Up! One when I used to be part of the Paper Pumpkin. They send you those little dies along with it. I haven't been part of Paper Pumpkin in some time, but I have all their dies still, and some of them I haven't stamp dies, and I haven't ink, or just say ink dies, and I haven't used them. And I opened this one up, and it's a really pretty color. This is a Tim Holtz die here. This is on my Scan and Cut, and then these little lines I did with this right here. I just used a ruler and drew right across. That's just a pattern paper on the bottom, and then I covered it with acetate, and then on top of that I put this this little frame right here that I cut out with my Scan and Cut. This is a Spellbinders die right here, this poinsettia, and it comes with this little center inside. I actually glue two of them together so that I can fluff them up a little bit. All of them are basically plain inside. Whoops. And then I put another die right now. Excuse me, I glued another die right there. And then we have this rose gold one. This one I actually layered it on top, and if you'll notice, I embossed it with a die that not a die, but one of those embossing folders. It just has dots on it. And this is also the same die. I cut them out in different colors. And then I already had this stamp. As you'll see, that's this center right here. These are what's exactly in the middle of this one right here. Only with this one, I used the little dots that I received through scrapbook.com. And they sent, you know how they send these freebies every time you order something with them? Well, this one was one of the freebies. This is I'm bringing it up to the camera so in case you want to order it yourself. Now this one actually, these are freebies. Well, I don't think they have freebies anymore. That was a while back. But that'll give you an idea of that one. And then the inside of that is blank. And then we have a blush gold type. And this is pinkish. I love this color. Pattern paper on the bottom, acetate on the top, and then that little design I made with this right here. And then it's basically the same as the other ones. So you can make these yourself. They're not very hard. You'll find that the baseline of all of these is the white that I use, but black, the color black would work really well as I almost started to say in Spanish también, which is that too, or sometimes certain words, because I'm Spanish, certain words come in Spanish to me in my brain, other times they're in English and vice versa. Anyway, having said that, thank you all for watching. I hope that you'll give this a thumbs up, and that below here is a like and subscribe and share. Now that if you do that, that helps promote my channel, and I hope that you will, and I hope that you enjoy these. Now there will be other cards in the future. I don't know how soon in the future, but I do want to feature cards. But right now what I want to do is emphasize on Christmas in July. So there'll be a few projects coming up. All right, you all be blessed. You all are awesome, and thank you so much for watching my channel. I do appreciate this, and you could be watching many other channels and doing some other things, but you've taken the time to watch this, and I appreciate and cherish your time. Thank you. Bye-bye.